10 most charming secret small towns for Black people to move to in the United States of America. Yep, we said it. And no, we're not talking about the usual suspects you see plastered on every best places to live list that magically forgets we exist. These aren't big cities with overpriced rent and diverse neighborhoods that still clutch their purses when you walk by. These are hidden gems, America's best-kept secret small towns for Black people, where community, culture, and quality of life still mean something. In a country where over 40% of Black Americans are considering relocation for better affordable living and peace of mind, it's time we start rewriting the narrative. Why settle for urban chaos when there are scenic towns filled with charm and history, quietly waiting for us to call them home? Whether you're dreaming of a slower lifestyle, a deeper sense of community, or just a place where you don't have to explain your hair every Monday, this video is your roadmap. These are charming small towns for Black people that offer more than just nice views. They offer belonging. So grab a seat, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned as we count down 10 secret small towns Black people can explore in America that you've probably never heard of, but just might fall in love with. Number 10. Goldsboro, North Carolina. You ever heard of a place where the cost of living doesn't punch you in the throat every month, and you can still find soul food that tastes like your auntie made it? Welcome to Goldsboro, North Carolina, the town that's been minding its business while quietly being one of the most charming secret small towns for Black people to move to in the United States of America. With nearly 50% of its population being Black, this town isn't diverse in a token way. It's blackety black. That means more cultural events, more people who get your jokes, and fewer awkward moments explaining why your bonnet is not up for debate. Goldsboro serves up affordable homes with the kind of prices that'll make you question why you've been paying $2,400 for a closet in the city. The median home price here hovers around $175,000, which is almost mythical in today's market. And don't let the small-town charm fool you. This place has big opportunity energy, thanks to Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, which keeps the local economy steady and job-friendly. Parents, listen up. Goldsboro's public schools are solid, and the town has community programs that actually care. We're talking real mentorships, after-school support, and initiatives for youth development, not just brochures with good intentions. And can we talk location? You're just a couple hours from Raleigh or the beach, so if you need a quick escape to the city or some saltwater therapy, you're covered. Now, let me ask you, how often do you hear about towns that actually feel like home for Black families, offer job stability, good schools, affordable living, and still manage to stay off the radar of every overpriced gentrifier with a beard and a drone? Goldsboro is one of America's best-kept secret small towns for Black people, and it's not asking for attention, it's just offering a better life. Could this be the place where you finally breathe? Stay tuned, because if Goldsboro caught your attention, wait until you see what's coming next. Number 9. Scotland Neck, North Carolina. Scotland Neck has fewer than 2,000 residents, and yet it might just have more potential than some overhyped up-and-coming cities with 6-lane highways and zero soul. Think about it, a small rural town in the heart of North Carolina where Black folks aren't just living, they're leading. That's not a fantasy, that's Scotland Neck. You ever get tired of the constant city hustle, where you can't even hear your own thoughts over the sound of rent invoices slapping your inbox? Scotland Neck is the kind of place where the loudest thing you'll hear is a rooster in the morning, or your neighbor yelling, "Hey baby," from the porch. It's quiet, but not boring. This town has deep agricultural roots, yes, but don't think that means it's stuck in the past. There's a grassroots movement, pun intended, of Black entrepreneurs, community leaders, and visionaries who are reshaping the future of Scotland Neck from the ground up. We're talking new businesses, revitalized spaces, and community events that actually bring people together, not just photo ops for some mayoral newsletter. And let's talk property prices. You can still buy a decent home here for less than what some folks pay for parking in DC. That low cost of living opens the door wide for entrepreneurs, from barbershops and soul food joints to wellness studios and creative spaces. Your dreams don't have to be put on layaway here. So here's a question. Would you rather build your legacy in a place where you're fighting to be seen, or in a town that's ready to hand you the blueprint and say, let's build together? Scotland Neck is one of America's most charming secret small towns for Black people to call home. Not because it's perfect, but because it's possible. Possible to own, possible to grow, and possible to breathe without explaining your whole existence at the PTA meeting. Don't sleep on it. Scotland Neck may be quiet, but it's got a future, and you might just be part of it. Number 8. Hillside, New Jersey. Yes, Hillside. And no, not the one in your cousin's group chat that keeps confusing it with Newark. We're talking about Hillside, New Jersey, a quiet, diverse suburb that's close enough to NYC for opportunity, but far enough to not hear sirens every 12 seconds. With a population hovering just under 22,000, Hillside might not be on your radar, but maybe it should be. This place has been building a reputation as one of America's most charming secret small towns for Black people to call home. And honestly, it's giving, we see you, we hear you, and we've got space at the cookout. Black professionals and families are moving in, not just to live, but to thrive. Hillside has something many towns pretend to have: real representation. Local leadership actually reflects the people. Translation? You're not shouting into a void at town hall meetings. You're speaking to folks who understand the assignment. Worried about education? Don't be. Hillside's public schools hold their own, and the district invests in both academics and community programs. It's the kind of place where teachers still know your kid's name, and probably how they did on their spelling test too. And let's talk location goals. You're 20 minutes from New York City, but you don't have to pay New York rent or develop New York parking rage. That balance of urban access and suburban calm makes Hillside the ideal urban escape, with quality of life still intact. So here's the real question. What's more valuable? Living in a flashy city that drains your wallet and your spirit, or being part of a town that invests in your growth and knows your name at the corner store? Hillside is one of those charming small towns for Black people that doesn't just tolerate your presence, it welcomes your ideas, your businesses, your family. It's low-key, proud, and rising steadily, kind of like your dreams when you're finally in the right place. Number 7. Bastrop, Texas. Texas isn't exactly known for its subtlety, but Bastrop whispers. And what it's saying is, you don't have to sacrifice peace and culture to live well. This charming little gem, tucked just 30 miles southeast of Austin, might be the best-kept secret small town Black folks are sleeping on. Let's be real, Austin's cool and all, but have you seen the rent lately? Bastrop gives you the vibe without the financial trauma. Affordable living, plenty of space to breathe, and no one's trying to charge you $18 for oat milk and vibes. So why break the bank when you can be close enough to Austin to dip in for a weekend festival, and far enough to escape the traffic and gentrification fatigue? Now let's talk Black business growth. Bastrop may be small, but the energy here is real. There's a growing number of Black entrepreneurs planting roots, from soul food spots to creative hubs. And yes, there's a local art scene with actual culture, not just overpriced pottery and interpretive dance. Love the outdoors? You're in luck. This town's got lush nature trails, peaceful river views, and parks that don't feel like concrete afterthoughts. Perfect for family walks, solo recharge days, or filming your next soft life TikTok. No judgment. And for the spiritually inclined, historic Black churches still hold down the fort, not only as places of worship, but as community anchors. You walk in a stranger, you leave with 3 aunties and a plate of fried catfish. So here's a question. Wouldn't it be nice to live somewhere that gives you opportunity, tranquility, and culture without you having to compromise any part of who you are? Bastrop is one of those charming small towns for Black people that checks every box: community, creativity, affordability, and just enough distance from the chaos to actually enjoy your life. Number 6. Camden, South Carolina. You ever roll into a place so peaceful it feels like your blood pressure drops just crossing the city limits? Welcome to Camden, South Carolina, the kind of town where neighbors still wave, the tea is always sweet, and stress levels clock out by 5 p.m. Now don't get it twisted. Camden isn't some forgotten back road with tumbleweeds and a single gas station. It's one of those charming small towns for Black people that's often overlooked, which honestly might be its greatest strength. It's got that slow southern vibe where life doesn't rush you, and somehow, even the air feels more respectful. So why should you care about Camden? First off, the sense of community is real. People don't just live here, they belong here. It's a place where your presence actually matters, not just your tax dollars. Black families are settling in, not to escape city life, but to rediscover what real living feels like. You're also just a short drive from Columbia, the state capital, which means you get big city access without big city anxiety. It's like having brunch in your backyard and then catching a concert 30 minutes later, without spending half your paycheck on parking. Let's talk culture. Camden might be quiet, but it's got cultural events popping year-round, from jazz nights to heritage festivals. And yes, there's growing diversity. Folks from different backgrounds are putting down roots here, building businesses, and creating something that feels like community, not competition. So ask yourself, wouldn't it be nice to live in a town where folks still say good morning and actually mean it? Where your kids can play outside without needing a security app? Camden is a hidden gem, not flashy, not loud, but full of charm and promise. It doesn't scream for attention. It simply offers something better: peace, pride, and a place to grow. And just wait until you see what's coming in the top 5. Quick timeout before we dive into the top 5. If you're vibing with these hidden gems and thinking, wait, why haven't I heard of these towns before? Go ahead and smash that like button so the algorithm knows we need more content made for us, by us. And while you're at it, subscribe to Virtual Travel by Brian so you never miss another list that actually gets you. Alright, let's keep it moving, because the next town? You're not ready. Number 5. Mound Bayou, Mississippi. A town founded by formerly enslaved Black people in 1887. Let that sink in for a second. Mound Bayou, Mississippi isn't just a dot on the map. It's a living, breathing symbol of Black self-sufficiency, pride, and power, built brick by brick without waiting for anyone's permission or approval. Now ask yourself, how many towns in America can actually say they were established to be a safe haven for Black folks, and still stand on that legacy today? Mound Bayou was created as a sanctuary, a place where Black families could live, lead, and build without outside interference. And even in 2024, that same spirit flows through the community. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but what it lacks in population, it makes up for in purpose. You walk through the streets and feel it in the murals, the historic markers, the churches still holding it down. This town remembers who it is. Let's talk potential. This isn't just a historic town, it's an investment waiting to happen. With low property prices and wide-open opportunities, Mound Bayou is ripe for Black entrepreneurs, families, and changemakers who don't mind planting seeds and watching them grow. Think of it as the Black Wall Street energy, without the skyscrapers, but with the same soul. And the community? Tight-knit doesn't even begin to describe it. Everybody knows everybody. And while that might mean you can't sneak to the store in your bonnet, it does mean your neighbors look out for you like family. So let's pause right here, because if you've been dreaming about living somewhere that doesn't just accept you, but was made for you, why not Mound Bayou? Number 4. Tuskegee, Alabama. Black history wasn't just made here, it was launched into the stratosphere. Tuskegee, Alabama is where Black excellence wasn't a buzzword, it was the blueprint. This is the town that gave us Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver, and the legendary Tuskegee Airmen. So yeah, when we say this place is historic, we don't mean cute antique shops. We mean Black legacy with receipts. And yet somehow, Tuskegee still flies under the radar. Quiet, unbothered, and dripping with pride. You won't find overpriced condos or latte art competitions here. What you will find is a town that respects your roots, your ambition, and your right to live somewhere that doesn't question your presence. Tuskegee University is the heartbeat of the town. And it's not just about education, it's about elevation. The campus alone is a national landmark, with architecture and stories that deserve to be in every history book, but somehow, conveniently aren't. Plus, where else can you stroll through a community where Black achievement isn't celebrated once a year, but all year? And let's talk real life for a second. Housing is affordable, the pace is peaceful, and the sense of pride? Unshakable. You'll see it in the way neighbors greet each other, in the murals honoring Black legends, and in the students walking around campus like they're next in line to change the world, because they just might be. So let me ask you, what would it feel like to live in a town where your kids grow up seeing greatness reflected in their community every single day? Tuskegee isn't just a town, it's a living monument to Black brilliance. And for those looking for a slower, more intentional lifestyle steeped in culture and history, this might be exactly the place to reclaim your peace and your power. Number 3. Eatonville, Florida. This town was founded by Black people, for Black people, when that was still considered revolutionary. Eatonville, Florida isn't just another small southern town. It's history with a heartbeat. It's culture on every corner. And it's one of the first all-Black incorporated towns in the entire U.S. That's not a flex, it's a whole movement. Ask yourself this: how often do you see a town where Black culture isn't just celebrated during one month, but every day, in the streets, the schools, the stories, and the soil itself? Eatonville delivers just that. This is where Zora Neale Hurston, one of the greatest literary queens of the Harlem Renaissance, once called home. And trust, her spirit still lingers in the art, the festivals, and the unapologetic pride of the people. Eatonville isn't frozen in history, though. It's alive and evolving. Located just minutes from Orlando, this small town gives you big access without the theme park chaos. You can enjoy cultural festivals that actually mean something, like the Zora Festival, which brings together authors, artists, and community leaders in a powerful celebration of African American heritage. No plastic beads or forced soul food pop-ups. This is the real deal. Want a place where your kids grow up knowing their roots and their worth? Where Black excellence isn't an aspiration, it's the standard. Then Eatonville might be calling your name. And let's not ignore the location win here. You get all the peace of a small town, with all the perks of Orlando just a short drive away. Jobs, entertainment, travel, right there. Without the tourist traffic or overpriced rent. So here's the question. Do you want to be part of a community that made history, or one that's still being written into it? Eatonville is proof that legacy and lifestyle can go hand in hand, and it just might be the cultural gem you didn't know you needed. Number 2. Natchez, Mississippi. This town was once the wealthiest in America, built on cotton, steamboats, and yes, the backbreaking labor of enslaved people. But Natchez, Mississippi has flipped the narrative. Today, it's leaning into its past not to glorify it, but to reclaim it, with Black culture front and center in a way that's bold, beautiful, and long overdue. You ever walk into a place and feel like your ancestors whispered, "You're home?" That's Natchez. With its historic Black churches, active heritage tours, and riverfront views that look like a painting, this town is like living inside a Southern novel. Except this time, we're the main characters. Let's talk stats. The Black population makes up about 60% of Natchez, and the town is buzzing with a cultural revival led by Black artists, historians, and community leaders. It's not just about remembering the past, it's about owning the future. There are festivals, walking tours, and community events that actually reflect Black stories, not just slapped on a brochure for diversity points. And the real estate? Still wildly affordable. You can own a whole house with a porch and a backyard, yes, an actual yard, for less than what folks are dropping on rent in major cities. Plus, that Mississippi River backdrop isn't just scenic, it's soul-soothing. So let me ask you, what would it feel like to live in a town that honors your history while giving you space to write your next chapter? Natchez is one of America's most charming secret small towns for Black people to call home, not just because of its beauty, but because of its transformation. It's living proof that healing and heritage can exist in the same zip code. Now hold on tight, because the number 1 spot, it's Black, bold, and beautifully unexpected. Let's go. Number 1. Idlewild, Michigan. This town used to host everyone from Duke Ellington to Aretha Franklin, and now it's waiting for you. Welcome to Idlewild, Michigan, affectionately known as the Black Eden. Once a booming resort town for Black Americans during segregation, this hidden gem was the place where we danced, built, bought land, and didn't need permission to be fabulous. Ask yourself this: what happens to a place built on joy, resistance, and self-reliance once the world moves on? In Idlewild's case, it gets quieter, but never forgotten. Today, Idlewild is making a quiet comeback, and it's perfect for those seeking more land, less noise, and a whole lot of legacy. This is the kind of place where you can own actual property, like trees, lakefronts, porches you can stretch out on, and not just a tiny apartment with urban charm, aka no parking and constant construction. The cost of living is low, the sense of community is high, and the land is still affordable for those who want to build something that matters. Whether you're into gardening, fishing, storytelling, or just finally hearing your own thoughts, Idlewild gives you space to breathe and be. And don't let the rural vibe fool you. Idlewild is home to Black cultural festivals, music celebrations, and historical events that bring the community together in the most soulful, unbothered way. This is heritage you can walk through, not just read about. You feel it in the air, in the rhythm of the people, in the pride that never left, even when the spotlight did. So here's the big question. Would you rather chase a future in a city that barely notices you, or help rebuild a town that was made for you from the start? Idlewild, Michigan isn't just number one on this list, it's a call to action. A reminder that our history didn't end, it's waiting to be lived again. Whether you're planning to move tomorrow, or just dreaming of a slower, more intentional life, keep Idlewild on your radar. Because in this small, soulful town, Black excellence isn't a memory. It's still unfolding. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Which town surprised you the most? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Virtual Travel by Brian for more hidden gems, travel wisdom, and top 10 lists made just for you. Thanks for watching.